Hello! So today I'm going to talk about All the Sinners Bleed by S.A. Cosby. This is the second S.A. Cosby book I have read, the first being Razorblade Tears, which I thought was excellent. It's a non-Booker season book, baby! All the Sinners Bleed is a police procedural thriller covering the themes of race, justice, family and grief. And just like Razorblade Tears, the body count is high and the action is constant. It's pretty hard to talk about this book without giving you some mild spoilers, just at the start, just the sort of setup of this book. So if you want to go in knowing nothing at all, which it is always best to do with these types of books, then I would say stop watching, read it and come back. But I don't think what I'm going to give you is going to ruin too much of the book, but I'm definitely giving you some details from the start that sets everything up. Our protagonist is Titus Crown, an ex-FBI agent. He is the sheriff of a rural community in Virginia, his hometown, Sharon. He is the first black sheriff of Sharon, and he finds that his job is a constant balance between what's expected of him from the black community, but also the vows that he has made to uphold the law. Because at times those two elements don't always gel that well. The action of this novel begins with a report of an active shooter at Jefferson Davies High School. But instead of a massacre, they find just a single victim. The beloved teacher, Mr. Spearman. The shooter, a young guy named Luttrell, is cut down by Titus's deputies when he refuses to drop his gun. When Titus is able to get into the beloved teacher, Mr. Spearman's phone, he finds images of torture and horror. The victims were all children and all black. It turns out Luttrell and Spearman were part of a killing trio, and the third killer is on the loose. So Titus's job is to now find the unknown killer in his southern community. A no man's land between people who believe in him, people who hate him because of the colour of his skin, and people who believe he is a traitor to his race. And I'm going to leave that there as far as plot is concerned. Obviously there are some mild spoilers in that towards the start, but really that's just the opening, the setup, and everything gets going from there. So what did I like and what didn't I like? What I liked. Overall, it's just a solid crime thriller that gives you everything you need to keep turning the page. Titus tracks clues, investigates suspects, discovers bodies, and does everything in his power to stop his community from boiling over into chaos. At the same time, he's dealing with two girlfriends, one old, one new, as well as his relationship with his distant brother and his dad. It packs in a lot, but it is all beautifully balanced throughout. Just like Razorblade Tears, the writing is clean, sharp, and flows really well. And just like Razorblade Tears, I find this novel sets itself a little bit above the rest because of its exploration of race. It is able to break down and explore interpersonal, institutionalised, structural, and internalised racism throughout its myriad of characters, but never at the expense of the plot and the pacing. It is a thing that S.A. Cosby does extremely well. As far as good is concerned, I really don't know what else to say because it's got everything you kind of need. A really interesting protagonist, an interesting setting, and a really engaging story. So what didn't I like? For me, what's missing from this book is what sets Razorblade Tears just a notch above it. In Razorblade Tears, we have two main protagonists, and it's the way that their relationship, those characters bounce off of each other in really interesting and dynamic ways that made that book feel just a little bit more well-rounded. You see, Titus is a bit of a lone wolf, and as much as we get an absolutely concrete connection to him, his views, the way he is, the way he sees his town, his relationship, that is solid. But when it comes to the secondary characters, we are given enough to bring them to life, enough to engage with them and to keep the story building. But for me, it just doesn't go deep enough. In Razorblade Tears, we had those two characters that we could really connect with. They were so well layered, real nice amount of depth to them. But in this, all the secondary characters, they just don't quite hit the bar that I would like them to raise this book or surpass Razorblade Tears. And you would be well within your right to say, Andy, this is a crime thriller. We don't need our secondary characters to be incredibly well-rounded because that would just damage the plot and the pacing. And actually, I totally agree with you because it's just a personal taste thing, and I just think I wanted a tiny bit more in this book. It just would have nudged it up a little bit. If you are looking for a solid thriller that does a little bit more than most thrillers do, especially in its exploration of race, then look no further. This was very good and in some moments excellent, so I'm falling on a 3.5 to kind of 4 stars for this one. I just think S.A. Cosby does what he does incredibly well. So have you read this book and what did you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please let me know in the comments below. I want to thank you all for watching, and as always, I hope you're well and I'll see you on the next one.